So one of the things that we like to talk about on this show, especially when we get some of you guys in here that have been around the sport for a while, is and you're, especially in your position as a crew chief, creativity is what we like to call it. DW talked about how they some of the things they did over at juniors to trick their cars out, and things I'd heard rumors of that never knew whether they were true or not. Pemberton came in here, or not Pemberton, but Andy Petrie came in here and talked about a lot of things he did with Harry's car when Harry won the 4 in a row.
Okay.
The cambered housing and all that stuff, how he came up with that and made that work. What are some of the creative things that you did in your career that you're proud of?
This is why we want you right here.
And
this is it. We know you won 10 in a row. You got all these wonderful cars, these fast cars, these streaks. You can't tell us you didn't.
Like for Petrie, I look at the cambered housing and think, well, damn, everybody runs cambered housings now, right? It was just he was the one to develop it and figured out how to get the axles to last and things like that. And so it's really incredible what he was able to do and how he was able to make that work and go out there. And now everybody's got a cambered housing. So what are some of the things? Maybe it ain't. Let's not say it's cheating, but maybe because when you were listen, Dale, when you were working on the cars back then, the innovation was like through the roof. The cars were changing so fast. How y'all built the cars, what the suspension looked like, how things worked, what the new and the new trick stuff. It was changing every 3 months, every month, every week. And so, what are some of the things that you developed or that you were on to first before anyone else that you're proud of?
The big thing we had was Richard Petty.
Sure.
And when we built a car, everything was built around Richard Petty. Now you see Richard, and like Harry said, that damn skeleton beat us again. But we raced without power steering, and those cars steered hard. In fact, we had a 24-1 for the speedways and a 20-1 for the half-mile tracks.
Wow.
And we finally got a 16-1, I think. But
for reference, they were running like 8 and 10-1s now.
With power steering.
Yeah.
Okay. But Chrysler, when they was into it, they built they had idle arms and pitman arms and the steering arms and all that. And we shortened the pitman arms and lengthened the steering arms, and it must have helped it 50% on steering. And that was some of the big things. But Richard was in on that too. But golly, you want me tell on me for cheating? No. But we
don't call it cheating.
Okay,
innovation.
And it wasn't at that point in time. It was survival. Just like. But I don't know. To keep the car, and Lee was like this too. The car had to run to the checkered flag to be successful, and we worked hard on that. But if you went to NASCAR and wanted them to change a rule or anything, the way you approached them was safety factor first. You know what I mean? And of course, the window net came on account of Richard's arm out the window in '70, and NASCAR. Golly, how successful are they? You know what I mean? And Big, I was around when Big Bill was around, and the chances he must have took,
Yeah, I went and picked the cars for the over to Hall of Fame.
I see you commercial on that, yeah.
The Glory, whatever that is.
Glory Road.
Glory Road, yeah. One of the cars is Richard's. The seat in that car is no bigger than a 5-gallon bucket, and it's turned sideways, like it's pointed toward the door bar.
That's what I said. We set him there and built the car around what he wanted.
Yeah, but I guess I asked Kyle about that, and he said that Richard didn't like something about his back or something about crashing into the wall and hitting backwards. and he wanted to kind of be turned a little bit.
He said, that's the way he's going.
Yeah,
so go ahead and aim me that way a little bit.
Yeah.
And, I just keep repeating myself, but the car was built just strictly around him, and we put the roll bars in the car to his advantage to see, they're safe and everything. In fact, you see the story of where the roof blowed up on the 68 Plymouth, and we went to Daytona, and we the vinyl tops was popular back then.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a vinyl top, it was a painted vinyl. And we thought when those holes filled up with air, ain't nothing slicker than air. So the air would slide over the air-filled holes quicker. But what we had done, we had cut so much out of the roofing to get the roll bars up high where he could see around the corner, and we didn't weld the roof back to the roll bar. It finally blowed up, and we didn't have radios in, and God darn, he come down pit road, and my thing was to change the right front tire, and I look up, and he's up on the roof of the car. I didn't even know it was blowed up, at the time.
Yeah.
So
is that what happened? Where you see this picture of Richard standing
Dick Beatty's up there with him
on the hood of the car, hammering the roof down?
Yeah.
The roof flew open.
It just
bowed up.
Just opened up. I guess the pressure inside or something.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, but like I said, we'd cut so much.
I've seen that picture multiple times, but I didn't know what had happened to create that.
Yeah.
Dick Beatty was working on the car too?
No, he was up there to see what the heck was wrong.
He was an official.
He was an official, yeah.
He's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay, so you're not going to tell us all your deep, dark secrets. That's fine. We'll concede that. What car are you most proud of? You don't have to tell us why, but you got that car in '67, that, what did you call it, Old Blue? Where it won 47 races. You won 10 in a row, 67. Like, what car sticks out to you over time that you're the most proud of?
Well, I like the Dodge Charger, but in '66 we built a new Plymouth, and we won. I think we won the '66 Daytona 500 with it, and then 3 or 4 races into the goddamn season, he has his finger worked on, misses 2 or 3 races, and I think we'd won the championship that way if he hadn't done that. I ain't never understood that, but we'd broke his finger out in the front yard playing football during lunch, and he got something worked on, and we missed some races, but had a good year, and built a new car in '67 and went to Daytona with it, and got in a wreck on the backstretch and never could do no good with it, and brought the '66 out and won 27 races.
Just had them covered.
And
what was it about that car?
I don't know. It just kindly refused to lose. And but a lot of them was 100-mile races, and Darlington I think was one of them, and Martinsville was one of them. And that's tough races, and then Buddy finally beat us at Charlotte, and but we'd done knocked the door plumb off of it. I mean, the door's gone, and it's these pictures of Richard. Have you seen that picture with just the roll bars? The door's gone, and that was a good car. But then the Charger came along, and we ran it, and 3 years is what you're supposed to run the cars, and they, I told you I give them credit for bringing the Le Mans to Daytona in '81, which was a 3-year-old car, and didn't nobody see it but Waddell and Bobby, and they give Davey credit for picking it out, because it was in the eligible cars. So at the end of the season, France would okay that car another year, and then I think he okayed it 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
And we were up on the truck at Charlotte one Saturday watching what was the Sportsman race then. Me and Richard, Wade Thornburg, Bud Moore, and Bill France Jr. And during conversation, Bill Jr. says, "Dale, how y'all running?" I said, "We're not running too good." And he said, "What's wrong?" I said, "Well, you're making us run this 3-year-old car, and everybody else has got new cars. And Bud Moore likes to swallow this tobacco." I never will forget that. And Bill Jr. held that up to me the rest of his days.
He did.
So, yeah. But then we got to Magnum, and it was a terrible car too. And it kind of then that's when we had to go to Chevrolet, and midway or about 3/4 of the way through 78.
Yeah. Y'all sold a bunch of cars and parts and pieces to teams. One in particular, Buddy Arrington.
Yeah.
Y'all helped him out a bunch.
And we sold Ray Elder cars
Yeah.
and Herschel McGriff.
Herschel, yep.
Yeah. And
Like Herschel would run the same paint scheme on the West Coast. He'd paint. I think he painted he'd left the blue, but he'd paint the rest the pink or the red SDP gold or something.
yeah,
But you can look at some pictures of Herschel's cars and still see the Petty scheme
Is that right?
on the Charger.
but when we signed with SDP in 1972, we'd done sent the car it was on the way to California, and me and Richard Maurice was going to fly out. And he said, we're going through Chicago. Says, I've talked to Granatelli. He said, we're going to talk to him again. And he said, I don't think we can do anything, but says we're going to go by and see. And so we get to Chicago and go in our office, biggest office I've ever seen. And here's this little short man about this big around. And they start talking, and I know they was going to make a deal. It was just, and for the whole season, it wasn't much money compared to today, but it was big back then. And one of the big arguments was he wanted us to be solid day glow, and Rich said, no, we're going to have some blue on it. And they finally got that settled. And then one of the other things was how many continuously we could run on the fenders, because you just filled your fenders up with, and he finally gave us 10. We had to have Goodyear, and
Because those paid.
yeah, well, it was on a Goodyear deal for sure.
No, I'm saying the contingency decal paid money.
Yeah, and he said, I'm not, but you had to run in the top 3 to get it. And he said, I'm not paying for them to get a free ride, and which made sense. So we worked all that out. And then about the uniforms, and, at that time, the Indy drive cars had those white coveralls with SDP all over them. Maurice said, I ain't wearing them damn uniforms. And so we worked out the red pants and blue shirts. And so finally got everything pretty squared away, and a snowstorm come in. And they kept changing our flights because it was lasting longer. And finally they got me and Maurice on a plane. We went on the Riverside, and Granatelli and Richard came the next day, and we put a decal on the quarter panel and won the race for him out there, But late in the conversation, I remember Granatelli telling Richard, said, now, you stick with me and you'll be as popular as I am. I mean, that sticks, so. And of course, we get out there and answers and all that, said, well, he'll run your race team, because
They'd worked with him in the Indy side.
They had seen him at Indy, and he never bothered us with anything. And, of course, Ralph Salvino and all them. And, of course, you brought up the comic book early, and it was a marriage made in heaven, really.
It sure was. All right, guys, I know a little bit about cars, so believe me when I tell you that Tire Pros, they're the real deal. They've got great people, great service, and they can take care of all your automotive maintenance needs. Plus, they're a sponsor of this show, so they got great taste in podcasts. So check out Tire Pros. Follow them on Facebook and tell them that I sent you.